was scary. It was scary. I thought I never felt anything like this. And in a way, I was very glad that I was by myself, because I would have been concerned for anyone else that was here. If my wife and kids were here, I never wanted them to see something like this.
Alone in the path of a firestorm.
Shit.
Last Saturday, Jim Baruta stood on the veranda of his home at St Andrews, northeast of Melbourne, and watched a fire at Kinglake West in the distant hills build and race towards him.
It started over there on that ridge. I could see it coming over and started climbing along there. It jumped over to the left here, and then it just crept up here, got a hold of that house there next door. The cows were all mooing and going crazy. They were running all over the place. They didn't know where to go. They ran down to the dams, and then the house caught on fire and they were just going crazy, and then all of a sudden it all just stopped. It was very intense. The flames were so high, they were, I would guess, 50 metres, something like that. And the sound was just incredible. It just sounded like jets coming over. It just got almost deafening. It just sounded like the loudest thunder you've ever heard. It just would not stop. And then when it hit here, the fire was so intense, I just stepped behind here, behind the pillar, like that, and let everything rush past me. The heat was unbearable. My sunglasses were melting.
He estimates the fire travelled 10 kilometres in 10 minutes.
That house had caught on fire 10 seconds to the house, and that's like half a kilometre in 10 seconds.
As his front yard ignited, he knew it was time to go.
And I could feel it in my throat that I could not breathe properly, and I thought, okay, I've just got to walk back to the bunker.
Incredibly, he walked calmly to the concrete and steel fire bunker about the size of a shipping container he built into earth behind the house, and sat out the fire front in a 3 metre by 2 metre storeroom at the back.
When it was full on, you couldn't even go out there. There's no chance you'd go out there. There was fires outside the door, and there's nothing here to burn. There's a little hole over in the corner here where I have an extension cord coming into, and the flames were coming through there like someone was standing there with an oxy torch trying to push it through. The fire was just looking for the oxygen. Well, here was like pitch black, and I was standing at the door and just looking out through the crack in the door, and then I'd shut it for a while, and then I'd listen, and then I'd open it again, and I'd think, okay, now I can go.
Once the front passed, Jim Baruta ventured out to extinguish spot fires around the house, returning to the bunker when the flames became too intense.
And the fires would just reignite and reignite and reignite, the same fires all over again. And I had about 20 going at the same time, and so I just kept going on them.
And how long did you do that?
Oh, hours that went on for.
When the fire pump hoses collapsed, he started bucketing.
I carried thousands of buckets of water non-stop and just kept going over and over and over until it was out.
The next morning he went to find out what had happened to his neighbours and captured the aftermath on camera. Jim Baruta's house is one of just 2 still standing in his immediate neighbourhood. At least 22 people are confirmed to have died here.
There was a van down the road, there was 3 bodies down there. I never really looked at them. I didn't want to have that etched into my memory.
And that van, you knew that family?
Yes, I did. I found out later on who it actually was.
Had he stayed in the house, Jim Baruta believes he'd have died from the thick smoke that filled it, and that the bunker, which cost him $3,000, gave him shelter for enough time to escape the fire front.
I built it because I wanted something that could withstand a bomb.
Jim Baruta's experience is an amazing story of survival, but the sad thing is you can't help but wonder just how many people might still be alive today if they'd built a shelter like his.
If you made it to the bunker and you got that protection for that moment, it would be enough for you to survive.
What kept him going through the worst of it all was the thought of his wife Doris and 2 children who were staying well away from the fire.
Well, I feel lucky. I feel lucky now that I realise what actually happened. Everyone around me didn't make it through. They didn't make it through.
Can you believe he survived?
Not really, no. No. We're lucky he survived and he saved the house.